Welcome everybody to Too Legit to Crit, a tabletop role-playing podcast hosted by the human equivalent of a natural 2.
Oh, that's so much more disappointing than a nat 1.
I know, right? Because a nat 1 is still
it's at least a moment,
event.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like, nat 2 is just like, oh, I failed, and it wasn't even a spectacular failure.
Exactly. You just kind of disappear into the abyss of mediocrity.
Well, not if you're a College of Eloquence bard.
I don't know. You're talking in that.
I'm talking in 5e terms.
In that weird 5e.
Well, College of Eloquence bards have a really cool ability where if you're rolling deception or persuasion, if you roll sub 10, it's just a 10 plus your modifier. So you cannot.
So my name is John Santana.
I'm still Justin. He's so fed up with 5e already. It's great.
Yeah, sorry, I lost interest.
But it's like bard talk.
Yeah, but it's 5e talk. It's
it's combining a hate with a love. It's great.
There is nothing interested in 5e for me. So how are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. Ran my first session of my campaign since we last recorded, so I'm looking forward to talking about that in a little bit. And yeah, just chilling, man. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing good as well. Like my homebrew campaign, they're kind of chin deep in a new sort of arc, as it were.
Ooh.
Which is already fucking with them, and I am enjoying every single moment of it.
Well, I mean, that's good.
So they're in this idyllic town, and, you know, idyllic towns are never what they seem.
No.
And this one is definitely not what it seems.
Lovely.
And they've been attacked a couple of times by a certain creature, or a certain type of creature, should I say, and...
Is the whole town a mimic?
No, but the whole town is almost unaware of any of this happening. It's almost like it breaks reality.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, the paranoia levels are quite high. I still think I could get it higher. So,
okay,
that's kind of what
you're currently sitting at like an 8. You want to dial it all the way up.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't think an 8 is satisfying enough for me.
Adequate. It's not adequate, mate.
You know, I struggle to get an erection on an 8.
Pull your finger out, John.
Well, if we're talking about erections.
Put your finger in. Oh, right. Anyway, moving on swiftly. Whew.
All right. Okay. So, should we go through some news, or do you want to talk about your game? Which are you most excited for?
I mean, obviously, I'm most excited for talking about my game, because it was very fun, and it started out very much as I was expecting it to. So they all came to in the hold of the ship, as you read from the notes I sent you. You know, they met the captain. I've already found my U of the party. I will clarify on that a bit. He spent the entire initial interaction with the captain taunting him whilst chained to the floor on the guy's boat, taunting the captain. Very you thing to do. He promptly then, once the captain left, discovered the loose nail that was, you know, there for plot reasons to undo their chains and locks and whatnot with. Did that, proceeded to put the lock on his horns because he's a tiefling. So he was like wearing the lock like a trophy and wrapped the chains around himself like a cloak.
That doesn't sound like me.
No, that bit's not you.
No, that bit's definitely not me.
No, the bit that is you, though, is telling every single pirate he encountered as they went through the vessel that their locks were shit.
Yeah, that does sound like it.
And then, so they have the first encounter with some of the crew, you know, pick up some weapons and stuff, proceed through, fight against the quartermaster, kill him, get his key, open the armory so that they're able to re-gear, because obviously they've gone this far without any of their equipment. At which point, they walk into the armory, and the bard character, Manfan, the total bard, finds his bagpipes. And before anyone has a chance to, locate their gear and equip it and don their armor, reunited with his bagpipes, decided to play a little ditty.
Well, I can see the compulsion, to be fair.
Yeah. Thus alerting the captain and bringing him down to the armory before they had a chance to re-gear, which is what I balanced the encounter around them doing, had proceeded to wipe the floor with each and every one of them. And when he arrived at the doorway, he asked them if they had any last words. And the you of the group, Daryl, decided to turn around and say, "Yeah, your locks are shit. I'm getting out of here." At which point he knocked him out first. He's currently being keel-hauled.
No, makes sense.
It then progressed into everyone on the floor apart from one character who decided to make one last-ditch plea for not being knocked the fuck out. And I was like, okay, well, give me a diplomacy roll, or it was a persuasion roll, because different roles for a different system, but same difference. They made their roll. They rolled like shit. I was laughing because I was like, there's no way he's failing this. I forgot I was rolling. I rolled in that one, which meant that even with the modifier, I was about 3 under what they rolled. So he did knock them out. And Rachel's now the quartermaster of the ship because they, killed half his crew and his quartermaster, and he needed someone he could trust. And the one that seems to be in charge of the people he just knocked the fuck out seems like a good choice.
So how far away from what you had originally envisioned have the party taken you?
The captain was meant to be dead. They were meant to be in charge of the ship. They're not. So, it's slightly different in that they're not in charge of the ship. They're still in charge of some people, but they still have a higher power now. So that's interesting. I've now got to flesh out this captain a bit more than I previously had planned.
Yeah, that tends to happen. Hence why I do not over-prepare.
Yeah. Well, if it hadn't have been for the bagpipe playing, it would have been fine.
Fucking bagpipes.
But on the bright side, the spell point variant rule is so much easier to track and maintain than spell slots and all that nonsense. So that went down very well, which I was very happy with. Good.
I'm glad. I'm glad it's going well. So when is your next game?
We are currently in the process of planning that. I've got a week off for my birthday coming up, so I'm hoping to get a few sessions of tabletop role-playing games and board games and whatnot in that week, because I'm also child-free the whole week. So I'm planning to have some people around and play games and do stuff and have fun.
Fair enough. So you've got all that time to meticulously plan what's going to happen and for them to
I
throw you another curve.
I already know what's happening next.
I'm very interested to see what other curveballs they throw you.
Oh, I'm well aware that they're going to happen. The you of the group has already rolled up a couple of spare characters because he's convinced I'm going to kill his character. He doesn't realize that I love his character and I think his character is awesome. And I have plans for his character, so I have no intention of killing his character, but if it happens, it happens.
See, that was a mistake I once made. In a campaign, I was playing a character, and for some reason, I don't think it was like in case of death. I think I built a secondary character, and I was more interested in playing this secondary character than I was playing the original, so I just kind of really lost interest. And it's something I've never done again. I will play a character until they are actually in the ground.
Yeah,
and then when I'll build something else.
Yeah,
because if not, for some reason, I get sort of excited in a way for this new character that I've got that I want to bring out and I want to test and all this.
Yeah,
and it just makes me lose interest in the character that I'm supposed to be focusing on, rather than developing that. I think about how to develop this new character, and yeah, I've that's a practice I kind of strongly discourage with my table.
Yeah,
because it does kind of hamper your experience a tiny bit.
Normally I would, but with the player in question, he's a lot like me in he builds characters for shits and giggles. So he doesn't develop an attachment or excitement around the character until he's played them, if that makes sense. So you know how I will like sit in character builders for 3 days straight and just be like, oh, this would be fun. And I just like build out something. But I don't really get excited for it until I start putting something into it more than just the build, if that makes sense. He's a lot like me in that regard. So I'm not too worried about him doing that. The rest of my table, I absolutely would not recommend them making other characters because they would have that issue, I feel. But this one I'm not too worried about. He's the veteran of the table as well. Knows more about it than even I do, which is scary because I know a fair bit now.
Fair enough. I'm glad it's going well.
Yeah, loving it.
And obviously, the most important question is: did your players enjoy it? Did they have a good time?
They seem to have. Everybody was very, very respondent. No, what's the word I'm looking for?
Responsive.
That's the word. Good job. Team effort.
We did well.
We got there in the end. Yeah, everyone was really responsive to everything.
Good.
The I think probably for me the standout moment was when Manfan the bard picked up his bagpipes and started playing. Daryl, the seasoned vet player that I mentioned earlier, as soon as he said that, he just looked at me. And I just smiled and he started laughing because he knew it was coming. You can't, on a vessel, start playing the bagpipes and not have the captain go, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, it would seriously be a suspension of disbelief.
Exactly, yeah.
You know. Okay, roll stealth to play the bagpipes.
Yeah. Play your bagpipes stealthily, sir. Sorry, what now? With multiple disadvantages. Roll 18 dice and take the lowest.
Oh, good. It sounds like you had a good time. And, that's the important part of it.
Yeah, no, everyone seemed to enjoy themselves. And I am looking forward to next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Fair enough. And kind of speaking on next time, I'm kind of currently in the process of putting together a Blades in the Dark campaign. Because Blades in the Dark really lends itself well to single session
like
sort of scores
type thing.
And because the overall progression is as much to do with the individual characters as it is to do with the crew.
Yeah.
What I am doing is essentially building a crew.
Okay.
Which will have, I don't think I've put an upper limit on members, but it will be a case of maybe once every couple of Fridays when I don't have the kids or any other sort of responsibilities, just kind of approach everyone who has decided to kind of build a character for this and kind of go, right, who's in on Friday?
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. I like that.
If it's 2 people who turn up, great. If it's 6 people who turn up, even better. And we'll kind of run through a score. And then that will kind of improve the overall standing of the crew within the city.
Yeah.
And that will be kind of the main focal point. So currently I've got 1 person built. I've even built a character as well in case anyone else wanted to run a score.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely will build a character.
So yeah, if you want to build a character as well, I've also got another 4 people interested.
Ooh.
And, you know, even if it does get a bit too big, there's nothing wrong with a crew, like, splitting into factions or, having 2 crews.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, the way you're kind of, setting that up as well, it could just be, we've got to this place, one crew is going to go and do stuff over there, that crew is going to go do stuff over there and run 2 different things, like, simultaneously, in air quotes.
No, but the system kind of is really, I didn't even think of that, but the system would lend itself to that really easily because it is a very low prep system. Most of kind of like the story development and everything that happens is down to dice rolls and improvisation.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely sounds a lot of fun. And yeah, it makes me think of like, the old Star Trek episodes where like every week they go to a different planet and they've got a different crew because, all the red shirts last episode died, etc. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it is kind of that. And because everything you do will have an impact on the overall crew and how big the crew's getting.
Yeah.
Then I think it's a nice little project, nice little side project that I'm kind of looking forward to getting going.
Yeah, man, sounds good.
Alongside all the other side projects I've currently got.
Alongside the laundry list of things we keep adding to both of our plates.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 2 Pathfinder Society scenarios to prep for the next couple of weeks. I'm still delving into Bind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
Because I do want to run that. Sci-Fi is actually trying to get Bind put onto Foundry.
Ooh.
Which is going to be quite interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those things that I should do this, but if I carry on saying I should do this, it'll never get done. Whereas if I start committing, then at least it gives me the kick up the arse I need to kind of put things in motion. Yeah,
I mean, you put it out in the world, and then you're always going to have somebody go, "Oh, what about that thing you said on a while back?" Yeah,
exactly. And I think the next thing that kind of needs to happen is Bind. So I'm going to be probably getting in touch with Marlon over the next week or so and seeing when we can set up a session. I just need to think and write something for said session.
This is dangerous. Thinking and writing, that's not our strong point.
Well, I kind of disagree. I think it is one of my strong points.
It's not mine.
It's probably not as enjoyable for the players as it is for me. One of the people in my homebrew group actually works in the same office as I do.
Oh, God.
And for the past few weeks, he's just heard me giggling to myself as something's occurred to me. Something that I can later kind of run home and write down quickly. But yeah, the amount of times we've been sat in the office and I've just gone,
Yeah, I know that giggle well.
And yeah, soon he will see why I was giggling so much.
It's gonna be one of those moments when it happens. You're gonna go, "Was that Friday's giggle?" And you'll be like, "No,
no, this was the overall giggle."
Oh, no, that's cool, man.
Yeah, so future projects. Any of our listeners that do kind of want to join in the fun, just let us know on the Facebook group. Probably the best way of doing that.
Yes, I would say that's probably one of the best ways of getting hold of us for anything, really.
Yeah, to be honest, that is quite true. So, should we take a look at some of the news that we've encountered?
I think we should.
Because there's one big piece of news, really. it's like really big.
Yeah.
So I might wait for that towards the end.
Oh, okay. Well, which one did you want to start with? Because we've got a few bits here.
All right. Well, I found this on Dicebreaker, and it is Eat the Reich.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gory, self-indulgent, no, not self-indulgent, a gory, indulgent, quick-fire RPG about World War II vampires out to drink all of Hitler's blood.
Okay.
Yeah. So apparently the person that's kind of behind this is quite well known for sort of out there RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
He's responsible for Spire, Heart, Die RPG, Orkborg, and a number of other titles that wear their effective hearts on their sleeves. So essentially, this is about a group of vampire commandos that are kind of sent into Paris in their coffins. And they are just going to battle their way through and kill Nazis, essentially.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at the Kickstarter. One, it's incredible. It was funded in 31 minutes. They had a goal of £20,000. They're currently sitting at 241,435. There is 9 days left. So if anybody out there wants to go and pledge, you can. The artwork looks amazing. But it looks like it's a quick to learn D6 dice pool system on the Havoc engine that encourages creative violence. It sounds like a game for you.
I don't know. I don't know. I was thinking about it. I don't think it's... Don't get me wrong, the premise sounds fucking phenomenal.
Do you know how you level up? There's no XP.
Go on then, tell me.
You drink their blood to level up. Enemy reinforcement rules that keep the vampire invaders on their toes. Non-accurate maps of Paris with lots of location details and ideas for fun things to destroy. I like that they've specified that it's non-accurate. So you don't have somebody who lives in Paris going that street is not there.
Sacre bleu.
But just looking at some of the stuff, they've got stuff specifically designed for VTT as well, which is cool as part of the
apparently they've
package.
Signed with Alchemy, is it? Or is that another?
I haven't seen that anywhere.
No, that might have been something else.
Yeah, but it looks really good. Basically, they're saying think Wolfenstein crossed with Danger 5. It looks awesome. It's the kind of game I think would be really fun to play. You're all around someone's house for board games or just chilling out or whatever. Just whack out and send some vampires through the trenches. Because why not?
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. To me, reading through it, it does seem more like a board game than a TTRPG.
Yeah, it definitely seems more like the kind of thing you would like say pull out when you've got a few friends around or whatever. Like you would a board game just for a quick little game. But it looks awesome.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the premise. I love the sort of the tongue-in-cheek concept behind it. I don't think it's going on my list to be honest. Though.
Yeah, I don't think it's one for us, but it definitely looks good, and I would say it's worth checking out.
Yeah, wish them all the luck in the world.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, speaking of vampires and monsters and things of the such, have you seen that the Witcher 4 game being developed means that they've put the Witcher RPG into hiatus for a little bit? Yeah,
I saw that, and it kind of caught me a bit by surprise, and I don't know why it did, to be honest. Because when I think of a tabletop role-playing game and a video game like Cyberpunk, although they share the same world, I've always kind of seen them as two completely separate entities, which will have been produced separately. But apparently that's not the case. Apparently they have to kind of focus on one and then focus on the other.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just having a look. So they are saying that they are separate separate storylines. So the upcoming books and supplements for the TTRPG don't tie directly into the ongoing storyline of the main characters. But I think that what they are going to be doing is stuff that's based around what's happening at the same sort of time. So I think what they might be looking at is, yes, it's separate, but I think they want it to be at the same, like, so the Witcher games are happening, like, I really can't think of my words today. At the same time, parallel, that's the word I was looking for.
Right.
So they're happening in parallel, if that makes sense. So they need whatever happens in the video game to be finalized before they can, implement that into the RPG or the tabletop RPG, because obviously the video game is also an RPG. It's very confusing when you've got two different forms of RPG.
Whatever happened to the other project that they were working on, that Project Blue Moon? They were meant to release information a couple of days ago, and I can't see anything for that.
That is true. They were. I believe they said it was supposed to be towards the end of last month.
Yeah, I'm just Googling it now, seeing if anything kind of comes up.
As am I. I have found
I really
it.
can't see anything.
September 30th.
What is that? More information?
Yeah, return here on September 30th and step through the gate.
So they must have pushed that back as well then.
Yeah.
You teases.
That's on their official page.
Yeah, that Project Blue Moon definitely.
There is more artwork though.
Ooh, is it nice?
Oh, actually, no, they have given a little bit more info here. It's still not a lot of info, but it's a little bit more. So they've some more artwork, which it is beautiful. I'll send you a link real quick. There you go, so you can see the artwork that I'm looking at. Like, it is beautiful artwork. There's no denying that. And if the rest of the artwork is going to be in a similar vein, I'm probably going to buy the book just for the artwork. But they have released a little bit more info.
Oh, it's the second sneak peek.
Yes.
All right, so apparently Project Blue Moon is the internal name for the game and not the final title. Holy shit, that artwork, though.
Right.
So, the first world, Nakatsukuni.
Wasn't even going to attempt that, so good on you for trying. To imagine great armies of humans and spirits waging a hopeless war against a corrupted deity, employing once peaceful creatures twisted into a horde of mindless monsters to collect souls for a traitorous afterlife. That sounds cool.
It does sound interesting, yet even now this world still isn't safe. The enemy continues to find ways to slither past our defences in the wake of this 100 year of sorrow and the reunification wars. This world struggles to recover. The wilderness is overgrown and perilous. The city's tainted by unrest, born from years of fear and conflict. Despite our best efforts, we cannot watch every dingy alley and dark corner.
And then, then they just say about coming back on September 30th for more info.
I am intrigued. I think this one definitely deserves to go on the watch list.
Absolutely.
If it's not already.
Yeah, it absolutely
Did we have
should.
that already?
I honestly can't remember if we put it on there. We did not. We should. I'm gonna drag that over.
Yeah.
Wait, it's not even. Where did we put it?
Yeah, because this wasn't. This is something that occurred to me like.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck The Witcher. I want to know about Blue Moon.
Yeah, I mean, I think The Witcher, for me, the TV show kind of tapered off in this last season, and I'm definitely not watching next season without Henry Cavill. It's just, it won't be the same.
I can't say I didn't enjoy the Witcher. I haven't seen all of it because it's one of those shows that I've watched that I've enjoyed, and the moment I've gone on to something else, completely forgotten it.
Yeah.
So even if I were to kind of pick up the next season, it'd be like, what? Where the fuck am I?
Yeah, I mean, so something I do with like those kind of shows is whenever I'm going to watch the new season, I rewatch the old season, or at least the last like 3 episodes, because then I can remember where I was.
Yeah, I do that as well, but the show has to really interest me in order to do that. For example, Only Murders in the Building has come out with Series 3. So, sure as shit, I'm going to probably rewatch it all before watching Series 3. The Witcher, not so much.
Yeah, I think they've made a mistake, like recasting the same character with a different actor. I think if they brought in, because the plan's to bring in Liam Hemsworth, right?
Right.
Because Henry Cavill had some disagreements with the way they were taking the franchise and stuff like that. So he basically told them to do one. And instead of bringing in Liam Hemsworth as a different Witcher, they're bringing him in to play the same character that Henry Cavill was playing. And I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't think my issues with it really are tied to Henry Cavill. I just found it forgettable.
That's fair.
You know, it's not something I've watched and kind of gone, holy shit, that was awesome. I've watched it and gone, yeah, it's not too bad. And that's it. I've now moved on to other things.
Speaking of moving on to other things.
A segue about a segue?
Right.
It's like a meta sort of segue. Kind of cool.
So, a lot of people seem to have moved on to other things in recent times because recent studies have shown that almost 40% more people are playing tabletop games since before the lockdown. So the lockdown has brought a lot of people into this amazing hobby. Yeah,
I mean, if there are silver linings regarding the lockdown, I think
that's one of them.
That's definitely one of them.
Yeah, I mean, this one's going to hurt you a little bit, but interest in D&D's increased to like by 85%, which is insane.
It's all right, they don't know any better.
They don't yet. You're right. They don't know any better yet, and they've got decisions to make going forward because they've now that they've had a taster, and it's all downhill from here because you don't stop spending money. There's always new books. There's always new systems.
And Wizards of the Coast want your firstborn child.
Not just Wizards, let's be honest. All of the companies have got more books coming out, more rules coming out.
Just Wizards. Just Wizards. They're all a bunch of bastards.
But even like miniature war games, right? So things like Warhammer, like all those sorts of games. Malifaux is another one. Those have also seen an increase of about 49% since the pandemic. And yeah, it's been insane. I mean, Gen Con had its largest ever attendance last month with over 70,000 people going.
No, it's phenomenal to see. I mean, the new venue that we have kind of started going to for the Pathfinder Society games, our second venue, as it were, is a big wargaming venue.
Yeah.
So, you walk in and there's 10, 12 tables.
Yeah.
More even.
Yeah, there's loads. Yeah, because they've got some out the back as well. I don't know if you've been to that bit.
Yeah, and it's just all war games. And, it's fantastic to see. Personally, I'm not much of a wargamer, but I have been in the past.
Yep.
I had quite a substantial Blood Angel army for Warhammer 40k.
I've tried it. The issue I have with it is the same issue I have with tabletop role playing. Dice hate me. So I have never won a game when playing any war game, except for Malifaux, because that's cards and not dice, which is why I like cards and not dice. But any game I've played that revolves around dice rolls, I have never won a game. So, yeah. Sore subject. Let's move on.
I'd feel bad for you if it wasn't so fucking funny.
I know. Yeah. And it's quite funny because like people will come into like, so we've got a games workshop like literally up the road from where I live, right? And I'll go in there again. You know, there's a couple of guys in there that I talk to, and we have a good old chat and stuff like that. And they never used to believe me when I would say how bad my dice rolls were until I started playing games there. And now whenever anybody says, "Oh, I'm rolling so badly," and I'm standing there, they'll all just look at me like, "No, you're not," because they know that if I was playing, the guy would still win.
Again, still funny.
Yeah, not so much for me.
Your pain is amusing.
Yeah, not for me.
I don't care about that, though, do I?
No, I know.
But yeah, it's really encouraging to see this hobby that we've embraced so tightly, that others are starting to do so as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, let it continue. Let it continue to grow.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Let's tell stories.
Yeah.
All right. So, speaking of telling stories.
Loving that. Setting yourself up for the segue. It's beautiful. Thing of beauty, that.
Yeah. So, the classic RPG Mutant Chronicles goes noir gumshoe in mystery-focused Lunar City Blues. Now, the thing about this article is none of these words mean much to me.
No.
Because the classic RPG Mutant Chronicles, never fucking heard of it.
Yep.
And Lunar City Blues, obviously, it's brand new, so I hadn't heard of it until today anyway. But apparently, Lunar City Blues is a Swedish RPG, I do believe.
Okay.
Not Lunar City, Mutant Chronicles, sorry. It was created by the Swedish studio Target Games back in 1993.
Jesus.
When I was 11.
It's depressing. Yeah, I was about to say, it's depressing that 1993 is considered classic now. Because I know. Yeah, I was playing games by that point.
What was I doing at 11? I was moving over to Spain.
Yeah, I was playing board games and surfing. That's what I was doing in 1993.
I was in a foreign country learning 2 new languages.
I was also in a foreign country, but I was not learning new languages.
So yeah, I wasn't playing RPGs back then. That is for fucking certain.
Oh god, no. No, I was playing video games and surfing. And StarCraft. I played a lot of StarCraft back then.
Oh, StarCraft.
I think StarCraft was around then.
I think, I think it might have been. I need some StarCraft in my life.
I mean, StarCraft.
Oh, completely fucking off topic.
It was.
And I had a proper midlife crisis moment over the weekend.
Oh.
And I went and bought Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 for the Xbox.
They were good games.
They still fucking are.
I think the worst thing, though, is when you play a game like that from when you were younger. Because like back when they first came out, we're like, these graphics are amazing. You play it now and you're like, these graphics are not that great.
Oh, no. These have like HD remaster.
Okay.
They've literally redone the game.
Fair. I didn't realize that.
And they look amazing. And I'm happy to say that, yes, I've missed a trick or two and I've gone rusty. But the moment I picked up that controller, 60,000 on my first combo.
Nice. The big question, though, is the soundtrack still the same?
Yes.
Good.
They've added to it as well.
Because that was iconic.
Yeah, they've added to the soundtracks. But whereas before, I used to be able to get, and I, no word of a lie, used to be able to get, like, combos in the millions.
Yeah.
Now I'm struggling to break the 100,000 mark. So I do still need to
it's a sign you're getting older.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest...
You just got to chain the manuals, man. Chain the manuals.
That's what I'm doing. Chaining manuals, chaining rails.
Yeah, manual grind. Yeah.
But yeah, as far as midlife crises go, it could have been worse. I could have bought an actual skateboard.
I definitely don't have 2 skateboards in my hallway right now.
I tried it a few years ago. This is even before my 40s. This was barely into my 30s or maybe even late 20s when I picked up skating again.
Yeah.
And I realized I now fear stuff I never used to.
Well, that's the thing, man. Like, I look at like, because I mean, I've literally got a skate park like out my window, right? So I can see kids like out there skating all the time, and they're doing stuff. And every time they do it, I find myself like cringing because I'm like, oh, they're gonna get hurt, and they don't. And it's like the minute that happens in my brain, I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I don't skate. I'm a bitch.
But yeah, that happened to me when I was skating.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was never like the most proficient skater in the world.
No, I was the cameraman.
I used to, I could hold my own. I could do a couple of tricks here and there. And when I picked it back up, it's like, nope. Not even going to try that because I'm going to fall and it's going to fucking hurt.
Yeah.
I never used to have those fears and now I do. I'm old.
Yeah, man, it's the worst. Getting old sucks. I hate it. Anyway,
so, yeah,
we digress.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
We digress. Well, no, we digressed even further than that. We started with Mutant Chronicles Lunar City Blues.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about the Swedish game, weren't we?
Yeah. And then we moved on to StarCraft somehow, which came out in 1998, by the way, not 1993. I was 5 years wrong. So I wasn't playing StarCraft yet.
Still, you are forgiven.
Yeah.
All right, so apparently this new sort of iteration of Mutant Chronicles is going to be a lot more investigative.
Ooh.
And a bit more, well, like I said in the title, noir gumshoe.
Mm-hmm.
See?
See. Honestly, I want to play like some kind of detective-y character in something just so I can use that voice. I want to play an entire campaign talking like that.
I think probably, I mean, the only one that springs to mind for me would be probably like Call of Cthulhu. That would be fucking awesome.
See.
See.
Or no, that would work in Delta Green as well.
There's a dame and all this, and whiskey and all these buzzwords.
Yeah, man.
All right, so
I like your Muxie, kid. I need to build this character now.
All right, so that's going to be your character for Delta Green.
Dude, yes.
All right, okay.
Yes.
Done. Oh. All right, because Delta Green is coming. We are going to kind of lean
I need to build a proper character for that because I've only played that one shot that we did, which I enjoyed, and my character died, so I couldn't even use that character if I wanted to.
And the thing about the one shot, you didn't really experience the nitty gritty of the insanity,
the existential dread,
which is just it's crisp.
What do you mean I didn't feel the nitty gritty of the insanity? The insanity caused me to get shot in the face.
Yeah, but still, it's a lot more nuanced in actual Delta Green. That was just a one shot with a pre-gen.
It was one shot. You're right. It was one shot in the face.
It was a good fucking shot.
It was a great shot. I can't fault the shot. It was brilliant. Oh man.
All right. Okay. So, where are we?
Where were we?
Okay, so speaking of kind of reviving older things.
Yes.
Luke Gygax is bringing back Gary Gygax's Castle Zaggig.
Yes. And apparently he's looking to bring back a few other things as well. But it's not going to have any of Gary's notes.
No, apparently not. And apparently, at least this one is going to use Castles and Crusades as its system. However, they will give you a document with conversion notes to 5e.
Yeah.
Why ever you would want to do that is beyond me.
Because 5e is amazing.
Oh, shit, you were serious. Sorry.
I mean, I think it's amazing. I like it.
So you can get the 7th for Castles and Crusade. You can get the 7th edition Player's Handbook in PDF for free.
For free! So that's the best word. And guess what? For free doesn't break your vow, even though you've already broken it.
I've not broken my vow.
You absolutely broke it.
I have not broken my vow.
You absolutely broke it.
No, I did not buy those. They were bought for me.
Well, they weren't.
Yes, they were. A birthday present, dude.
If they give you the money and you spend the money on something else, that's not them giving you what you spent the money on. They gave you the money.
They gave me the money, so I spent it on what I wanted.
It's not how it works, John, and you know it.
Yes, it is. I did not break the vow. The vow is still intact.
Oh.
And now, after playing Blades in the Dark, I've played one of the games that were on the list.
Oh my
so
gosh.
I can now buy more.
Well, there you go.
Just 'cause
You heard it, game creators. John's wallet is back out there.
Oh,
they are well
back
aware.
in action. My wallet is ready to give it up. So yeah, Castles and Crusades.
Yes.
I have heard of this. I've not really
I have not.
delved too much. But this is probably something I will look into, and if it's worth reporting, we can talk about it next week.
Yarp.
All right, so like at least for me, what we saw as the biggest news is that Paizo have started a new Pathfinder playtest.
Yes.
They've teased it quite heavily since Gen Con. Two new classes that have not been done before. In Pathfinder, one of them I think has had similar concepts that haven't quite panned out in both D&D and Pathfinder, but this is, I think, a new attempt of the same concept. So it is all going to be part of their upcoming book called The War of the Immortals, where a core deity is going to die.
Yes. Yeah, I remember you telling us about that.
They have teased that it's got something to do with Caden Kayleen, who is the accidental god.
Yep.
Now,
Which
whether
I
he's
love.
the one who dies or he is the reason one dies, they have not revealed that. What they have revealed is they are kind of leaning in the immortality and the deity sort of aspects of this book, where there are going to be new 20th level capstones, which essentially will make your character immortal. And that immortality will take different sort of iterations. Maybe you get reincarnated constantly. Maybe you just are the traditional immortal who never ages, etc. But that is going to be like a 20th level capstone. But the information that they give them most things about, because of the playtest, is about their two new classes.
Yeah, I was just reading that.
One is the Animist.
Yeah, that one looks fun.
Which is a wisdom-based divine spellcasting class that bonds with apparitions, ephemeral spirits who share their power and knowledge in exchange for the Animist acting as their agent within the physical world.
Yep.
Bond with a steward of stone and fire to add primal power to your spellcasting. Make a pact with an imposter in hidden places to gain access to sneaky and deceptive magics. Or allow a witness to ancient battles possess you and lend its martial talents to your repertoire.
Sorry. Got there in
That's
the end.
The one. Got there in the end. So they tried doing something similar in first edition with the medium. And it was a good concept, but it just kind of felt like a jack of all trades, master of none. Whereas this, you don't sacrifice your character to gain these abilities. They are actually added on top.
Yeah. I was just reading that. I kind of like that because they're saying about it's essentially a spellcaster who can change their abilities each day or even moment to moment based on the spiritual entities that they align themselves with. That's really flexible by the sounds of it.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I like that.
I've started building one. Not that I'll get to play it, but I've started building one. and you can choose between having like a primary sort of spirit or multiple. And both of these things kind of give you different bonuses, and it seems like a really interesting class.
Yeah.
And the other is a martial character called the Exemplar. It is a charisma-based divine warrior possessing their own spark of divinity.
Essentially a demigod by the sounds of it.
Yeah, when they were explaining it, the first thing I was thinking was Maui. Yeah. Because not only have they kind of given the character this sort of Polynesian aesthetic, but they even mentioned they said like it could be like Hercules or Maui or blah blah blah.
Yeah, see, Hercules is where I went, but that's because I'm a big Disney kid, and I just had all of the Hercules songs running through my head when I was reading that.
No, fair enough.
Good old Disney. But then again, Maui's Disney as well now, isn't he? So.
And the way this one works is that they have one divine spark, but they have multiple receptacles.
Yes.
So they've got like a receptacle weapon, receptacle armor, and then a worn receptacle, where they can imbue their spark into whichever one they choose, which will give it extra abilities. And then as an action, they can expend that for a heightened effect. Yeah. And then that will travel into their other receptacle, which they're calling icons. Yeah. So the example that they gave is you can have a warrior with a greatsword, armor, and some enchanted sandals. You can have the spark in the sandals and expend it to give him a burst of speed. Yeah. To get up to the enemy, which then transfers the power to the weapon for one hit, and then it transfers it to his armor for anything that's coming back at him. Yeah. And it's like, holy shit, that sounds amazing. Yeah,
it does sound really good. Yeah, I look forward to hearing your feedback on those once you've had a chance to see them in action, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I did prompt the players that are coming to the Society game this Saturday and next. Hey guys, you've got these, you can build them. I kind of want to see what they look like.
Build them if you want. They're there to be used.
Whether they do or not is beyond me, but I really hope they do. Because it sounds fucking phenomenal. Yeah. So I think that's about it for the news.
I think so. Shall we head to the couch?
Let's take a wander over to the couch.
I think we should.
Shall we? Have you got a question this week?
I have got exactly 0 questions.
I tell you what, sci-fi is... we need to have a word. We do need to have a word. I have 2 questions. Ooh. And they're actually, I think they're kind of tied into each other. Okay. Pretty well. So I'm going to we'll go with order of receipt. So the first one was Corvus Corax from the Temple of Duskmaven. First of all, he offers us a note on our Exploiting Loopholes episode. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Toril is the name of the world where the bulk of 5e pre-written campaigns take place.
There we go.
Primarily along the Sword Coast in Faerun.
Yeah. See, those are the 2 names I know, Sword Coast and Faerun.
Yeah, Faerun I would have probably eventually remembered. Yeah. But that's the one that sounds most familiar. That Toril is new to me. I wouldn't have had a clue. But then again,
I have heard that.
Why would I?
Yeah, I have heard that. I always get a bit lost with the map.
Fair enough. But to the question.
Yes.
As a DM that is an absolute fiend for lore, I even looked into older editions of D&D for lore. What are your thoughts on drawing inspiration and lore for players from older editions, and even to a lesser extent, taking some information from the overarching multiverse of other settings and worlds.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think anything that's going to broaden the story and give you more enjoyment is absolutely fine. Somebody went through the effort of writing it. Use it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Oh, so my opinion doesn't matter, does it?
No,
fuck you then.
You know it doesn't.
No, but I do agree with you that there is nothing wrong with pulling from any source.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't have to be even the game that you're playing.
Yeah.
It can be anything. Case in point, something in the homebrew that I'm running, there is actually a Pathfinder version of it. There is what I'm using does exist in Galarian lore. However, I looked at it and went, meh. It's a bit underwhelming.
Yeah.
So I have pulled from somewhere else. I'm trying not to give anything away to my players.
Yeah.
But I've pulled from certain sources that I'm aware of, that I've enjoyed, and I think have made the whole concept far better.
Yeah, prime example is the entire stance of my campaign, as you well know, came from an adventure path that you ran with us in a different system.
That is true,
right? I mean, that's almost verbatim what happened in the start of that after they, didn't kill the captain like they were supposed to.
Well, to be honest, in that adventure path, you don't kill the captain either.
Exactly. That was my point. Like that now that they didn't kill the captain, it's almost exactly that, right? They pretty much ended up in Skulls and Shackles, unintentionally. So,
in Skulls and Shackles, the initial ship secures another. The characters get put on with the first mate of the original ship, who assumes captaincy, and you both go your separate ways, and that's where the mutiny happens.
Yeah.
So you kind of kill the first mate, and that's how you get your first ship. But yeah, I've pulled from everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I've pulled from video games that I've played.
I've pulled from a song.
Yeah. Books I've read, films I've watched. Literally anything.
Yeah. And the even if I were to just stick to Pathfinder, Pathfinder 2nd edition, the premise of it is that it takes place 10 years after original Pathfinder was released. So the game world has progressed 10 years. So everything that's happened in all the adventure paths for Pathfinder 1st edition have actually happened, and they've made an impact on the world. So, for example, the city of Jin Shalast is now visible. The world wound is now sealed, etc., etc. So all these changes that have happened in the world, because Pathfinder is still relatively, 2nd edition, is still relatively new, the lore books haven't quite caught up. So I find myself constantly going back to 1st edition books.
Referencing the old ways.
Yeah, and just kind of picking up and updating as necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think... I think we're in agreement on this. It's absolutely fine to pull from any sources that you think is going to influence your game for the better.
Yeah, and it can also work for the sort of players that kind of know the lore.
Yeah.
It can also be really good to kind of surprise them. Because a player that kind of knows the lore inside out of the world you're running, I'm not saying that they're not going to enjoy it, but they don't have that initial sort of wow factor when something's revealed.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're pulling from a book that they've never fucking read,
then it's gonna help.
Then you can actually give them that experience.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely. Pull from anything. Pull from any source.
Do not restrict yourself.
No, not at all. Steal, file off the serial numbers, and recycle.
It's what Ludwig, a YouTuber, a gaming YouTuber and streamer that I watch a lot of, it's a technique he calls the yoink and twist. So you yoink whatever somebody else did, twist it so that it's your own, and then it's your own.
Yeah, and it's also known as the Hollywood business practice.
Yeah, the yoink and twist.
The yoink and twist.
Yeah, it's great.
Disney do it all the fucking time.
Yeah. Everyone does it. It's great.
No, but yeah, definitely. I think it's a fantastic question, though.
Oh, yeah, brilliant. Yeah, amazing.
You know, and thank you very much for that.
Yes.
So, our next question.
Yarp.
Comes from the man, the myth, the legend, Couch.
That he is.
He is writing to us from just one more day till retirement.
Bullshit.
And this is an interesting one, and I did want to get your take on it.
Mm-hmm.
When setting up your campaign, how do you figure out the story beats? This mainly applies for homebrews. Do you find that the story can change do you find that the story can change, or do you get bored of your story and want to change it? How much sit time do you give yourselves to work out the next part?
So I don't really plan all that far ahead. I tend to plan out like the first 3-ish sessions, right? Because I need to make sure that I know like where my hook's gonna be, right? And so I will plan to that point, and then once I've hit the hook, I just freeball it. But I know where the end point is, and everything in between, I just do what feels right. So I kind of freeform it from there.
In a sense, I do kind of prep a bit more.
Yes.
But I improvise more than you do.
Yes.
It's kind of a weird combination of both.
Yeah.
So I will have an overall heading for the campaign.
Yeah.
All right. And let's take a film, for example.
Lord of the Rings.
All right, Lord of the Rings.
Why not?
Okay.
I was watching it the other day.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to lay out a disclaimer here that I am
spoilers incoming.
I'm probably not the ideal person to be talking about Lord of the Rings because I've read the book, hated the fucking movies, and yes, I may get a lot of shit wrong.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I'm going to roll with it.
It's fine. I'm here to help.
And if it offends you, then you've got bigger problems than me talking about Lord of the Rings to deal with.
Yep.
So, okay, so Lord of the Rings. So I'm there, I'm at home, and I'm thinking, okay, so I want a campaign. I want a short dude to go to a volcano to chuck a ring in.
Not necessarily a short dude. That's just one of the player characters. You just need a ring thrown in a volcano.
Yeah, no, but that's the concept I had in mind. So I need a ring in a volcano.
Yep.
All right, so that is where I want the thing to end. So then I will kind of start asking, right, so what needs to happen to lead up to that point? So the dude has to meet other people.
Yes.
Those other people have to travel to this place. Was that Moria, I'm thinking?
That was the mines, yeah, where they fight the Balrog. Yeah.
Okay, so they have to meet up. They have to get to this point. And then from there, they have to get to, say, another place. I don't know. Gondor, yeah, okay. They have to get to Gondor. All through the while, they have to face various challenges, but I'll get into that in a minute. So we've got the beginning. We've got the individual sort of checkpoints that need to happen in order to reach the goal. Now, from the beginning to the first checkpoint, that's when I come up with stepping stones. So those stepping stones will be little adventures. Little sort of semi-independent things. Some things will be tied in more, some things will be tied in less. They come across a village that is haunted, for example. You know, you kind of dangle that bait and kind of say, look, this is a very haunted village, people are dying, etc., etc. And, you know, heroes being heroes will 9 times out of 10 kind of go, oh, we need to figure out what's going on here. So that will give me 4, 5, maybe even 6 sessions worth. And because I don't plan the way the sessions are going to go, all I do is prepare information. So I'll prepare the town, I'll prepare the NPCs, I'll prepare the shops, I'll prepare what's going on, and then everything else is just improvising with that information. And giving the appropriate nudges where necessary. Yeah. And as they're kind of getting to the end of that, that's when I'm thinking about the next one. Yeah. And the next one, and the next one. And it will guide them to the checkpoint that I need them to be at. Once out of that checkpoint, that's okay. That's step 1 done. Now we need to focus on how to get to step 2. So that is kind of how I set up my story beats. I set them up as like potentially self-contained adventures. In terms of changing, 100%. I will change things on a dime. Sometimes it's because of character actions where they've done something that makes me need to kind of shift the goalpost. They've zigged instead of zagging.
They caused a riot and are now all in prison.
Yeah, for example. That for me is an opportunity to kind of go, right, okay, now how do I not necessarily change the campaign?
But how do we incorporate it?
Yeah, how do I let them enjoy this whilst at the same time getting them back to where they need to be?
Prison Break.
Prison Break, for example. So yeah, that is kind of the way I do it. And yeah, in terms of change, it changes all the time. There is I have spoken to my table and said, once this campaign's done, we will have a session where we will sit down and you will ask me any questions you want to ask about the campaign itself and how I prepared it. And get ready, because some things are going to surprise you. Yeah. I pulled a major change earlier on in the campaign. And that wasn't based on anything the characters did. That was based on a conversation I had out of game with one of the players. Where they kind of commented on something, and I kind of felt it was a bit of a challenge. Yeah. So I went,
sounds about right.
Okay, fucko. And there is one major change. Oh, really? So yeah, once all is said and done, I will be more at liberty to kind of reveal what that is and what prompted that change, because you are going to fucking love it. Oh, I'll probably even tell you off air if you promise to keep your fucking mouth shut.
Yeah, let's not do that. We both know that. Okay. It's no.
Yeah, so
I will not make that promise.
Yeah, once the campaign is over.
I know my limitations, god damn it.
Yeah, because this is juicy.
No, then don't tell me.
Yeah, so yeah, I think we've got about maybe 4 or 5 months left. Once it's done, I will tell all.
Fantastic.
But yeah, so change stuff up, and you know, what I always kind of want to stress to newer GMs is don't try and prepare for everything, and to trust your improvising.
Yeah, I think as well, like just on that is don't get too attached to your story as well. because I have in the past seen like things on Reddit and stuff that where like a GM has created, like, because obviously, I mean, they spend time in creating this like this arc, right, that they want to get through. But if that's just not what the players are feeling or not what the players want to do with what you've presented them, you can't force them down that road, because then they're just gonna feel railroaded and get a bit, oh, that's not really what I want. And so I think it's important to not get too attached to your story that you start ignoring what the players actually want to do as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think a lot of the reason for that is there is a habit for GMs, which is when they prepare a homebrew, it's almost like they're preparing it for somebody else to run. So every little thing is detailed.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so the players are gonna meet up in a tavern, and then they're gonna go to this person who's gonna send them on this quest to beat this dragon. And they do this, and it's almost like they're trying to write an AP. Whereas my advice is, you're not. The only person who needs to read this is you. So all you need to do is give yourself enough information to have an answer.
Yeah.
When the players say, what's this? That's what you need. You do not need, okay, so they're going to meet Jeffrey, who is going to send them on the quest to face the dragon. No, you need to know that there is a dragon nearby.
Yep. And
that's causing havoc.
How they get on that quest is going to be, you can just do it however. Oh, they've heard some rumors or...
Yeah, and if they don't want to get on that quest, then have another one in your back pocket.
Yeah.
And if you have something prepared and the players bypass it,
use it somewhere else.
Don't tell them. Yeah, do not fucking tell them.
We've said that so many times on this show.
Just move it. Make it the appropriate level.
Yeah.
And go, hey, look at this thing that you've just walked into.
Well, because I mean, that's the thing, right? They're going to get to a town at some point where, like, they'll say, one of them will say, I'm going to go check the notice board for any jobs. Cool. You find a note for this thing that they bypassed 5 towns ago.
Yeah.
That's in this town now that they never knew about.
I prepared a whole fucking city that my players walked past.
It's the moving city.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was called one thing, but then all of a sudden...
It's a different name now.
It's got a different name.
It's funny that.
And all the creatures are leveled appropriate, because it was about 5 levels later as well.
Mental how that happens.
But again, they didn't know. They saw the city and went, yeah, we're not going to rest. We're just going to plow through.
Keep on trucking, yeah.
And I'm just sat there kind of going, fuck.
I think that is key, though, is if you have something like that they completely bypass, just stick it in your back pocket. Don't tell them. Don't show that you're gutted that they've missed this cool thing that you had planned or whatever, right? If they miss it, just stick it in your back pocket. Pull it out later when you need to.
Yeah,
it'll come up.
I mean,
it'll come up.
It can even be something as simple as an NPC giving them information.
Yeah.
If there is important information that they need to know, and they just happen to kill the NPC who had it, give them the information some other way.
Like, yeah, because I mean, you again, if it's just a bit of information they need, they're inevitably going to have, one of them's going to be like, I'm going to spend the night in the tavern just drinking and, chatting to people. So, okay, well, while you were doing that, you heard this rumor.
Yeah, that's it. You just recycle the things you need and use that to kind of to build your story and give the players the direction that you need to push them or gently guide them, should I say, towards your next story beat.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's probably the best advice I can give any GM, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I do believe that's about all we've got time for.
I would agree with that.
All right, so thank you to Couch and Corvus for sending in some fantastic questions. Yeah. Thanks to you for spending some time with me this evening.
So kind.
Do you want to tell people whereabouts they can find you on Tinterwebs?
Yes. So you lovely folk can find me pretty much everywhere at Justin Accurate TV. And of course, over on our Facebook group.
As for me, you can find me on most social media sites as @NaturalJuan. I'm mostly active on Mastodon, dice.camp. You can also find me in the Facebook group. And yeah, other than that, all I want to say is thank you to everyone who's for taking time out of your busy days to listen to Two Idiots Waffle On. If you are interested in the show, please help us get the exposure we need to kind of grow and build this community. So thank you very much to everyone. Good night.
See you later, folks.